to the herd wave, or welcome if you're new around here. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Okay, as I mentioned in last week's video, the little surprise of the eggs. Yeah, so this is what they looked like last week. I don't know whether you can remember. They're so tiny. But before we get into that, I'll have to show you this first because it's so funny. They have managed to knock over their tree log ornament. I don't even know how they've done it. How did you guys manage that? These are some of the Tanganyikan cichlids that I have. I have some trophies in here, firecracker trophies, and I have one daffodil in here. Sadly the other one didn't make it. She did used to hide a lot, so it's one of those things, I suppose. But yeah, somehow they've managed to knock over their log. But they're happy, they're skipping about in here. Proper crazy little fish. They're so funny. And I have babies off those as well, which is pretty exciting. But anyway, getting back to today's video, what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the eggs. They made it through the week, people. Yeah, and they're so big now. Well, they're not big, but you can so see a difference between what they used to look like and what they look like now. That's what today's video is about, guys. This is going to be, put it this way, I've finally done it. Yay! They've finally done it for me. They've finally bred, which is so exciting. This can probably guess who I'm talking about. It is obviously these guys. All of what happened with them, everything that they've gone through and I've gone through because they've gone through it, it's all worked out in the end. It's all worked out good. My suspicions were right. What happened last time with the female, she's got to have had eggs in her mouth, because the dynamics of the tank were so, I mean, they still are, they're absolutely crazy. There's some really mad stuff going on in there. There's been quite a few scraps as well between the boys, which that doesn't surprise me, given all of the females have decided they want to breed for some reason, and the males are going mad and they can't decide who they want to breed with, and it's a big old mess in there. But one of them kicked it off, one of them started it. The female that had to come in the fish room because she wasn't very well, because they weren't treating her very nice. But this sort of makes sense why they weren't treating her very nice if she did have eggs in her mouth, and maybe the other females weren't ready to start breeding. Because I don't know whether I do have a video on them, because these are my wild group of Frontosa, so I can't say 100% that they were all the same age, but they were all caught at the same time, often what I've been told, because I didn't catch them personally. I just took them on from somebody who wanted to move on to a different species of fish, and they were ready for a larger tank, so I managed to get my hands on them. Somebody very kindly wanted me to have them, which I'm very thankful for. I'm very lucky that he decided to give me those. But yeah, it's all in that video anyway. I did a video on my wild Frontosa tank. If you want to check that out, I'll give you a little bit of backstory on the fish, and showed you the sump setup, showed you the tank setup, things like that. So check that out if you're interested. But yeah, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about their history because it's all in that video. But yeah, they are wild. With wild caught fish, I think their behaviours are somewhat different to tank bred fish, in my opinion. Not to mention water parameters and things of that nature. But personality wise and traits, I think they are somewhat different. I've noticed a difference even between my Burundi, who are F1s, the difference between those two and the group, possibly because it's a group and it's a breeding pair situation. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't actually gone into that much detail and studied their behaviour that much, to tell you the truth. So I must say I have noticed a difference in in the two, and because they are in a species only tank, the Zaires, you can see all the males do have their long trails intact, where sometimes if you have them in with a mixed species, even if you put them in with like a species like trophies, because they are quite, like I say, they're quite nippy and they're quite fast, and they tend to nip at those little end tails, and you don't sometimes see the real beauty of them and how long they actually grow to. So that is one of the beauties of having a species only tank, is those beautiful end tails. They don't get nipped at and don't get damaged as much, because even if they do have a little bit of a scrap or a little tiff with each other, they don't tend to go for that area. They tend to either go for, it's normally the face that they go for, it's normally their mouths. Two of my males have been fighting for dominance, but like I said, that's because the females are all ready to breed. Yeah, so with Frontosas, sometimes it takes them a long time to breed. With them being such big fish, that they're not as quick to start breeding as other types of fish, and they are a little bit on the tricky side to get to breed as well. Everything has to be exactly the way they like it, so water temperature, water parameters, the whole feel of the tank has to be right, in my opinion, to get them to breed. And I think it takes a long time to build up to that and to see what's going to work in that tank as well. So it has took a while to get to this stage, but I'm so happy that they've finally done it. Well, they did, like I say, they did it before, but well, that's happened. It's happened, and everything's fine. But that's who the eggs belong to. Yay. They are hers. They are her eggs. And my males, the one that was always the dominant one, they've switched. So the alpha is now the beta, and the beta is now the alpha. Go figure. I don't know. Well, it just happens sometimes. So yeah, they have been having a little bit of a tiff, figuring it out who is going to be boss, who's the new boss. The old guy's having a bit of an issue with it, he's not liking it, but I think it is starting to settle down with any luck. He's just stopping out of the way now. He's just completely, I think he's give up. I think he's thought, no, not doing this anymore. You can have them. You can have them. Take them all. And they're more trouble than that really worth, probably. That's probably what he's thinking about, the ladies. So, yeah. Which is a bit sad. It's always sad when things like that happen. But that's nature, I suppose. That's just what happens in the animal kingdom. So yeah, getting back to what we were talking about. They are her eggs. And I'll show you them now, what they look like. Even though we had that little incident last week with the air filters, me turning them off. And what can I say? I don't know. I don't know. It just happened. I did decide to strip this female. I didn't want her to go through what happened before. Normally I would have left it a little bit longer until at least they were able to free swim before I stripped her. But given what happened, I didn't want to risk it with her. I didn't want to risk her health, because she was so, she did have a number done on her, and she did go through the ringer quite a little bit last time. So obviously when they do have eggs in their mouth, they're not feeding for that whole period, that whole gestational period. They don't feed. So I didn't want her to undergo that kind of stress, like physically on her body, and I didn't want them to start doing it to her again. So I took the decision. I thought, I'm going to strip her. I'm going to strip her early and see. Hopefully they are all fertilised, which they will be, because the way that Frontosas fertilise the eggs, they fertilise them directly into the mouth rather than outside of the body. Normally with normal African cichlids, they will, the female will lay the eggs, the male will fertilise them, and then the female will pick them up again and carry them in her mouth. Whereas with Frontosas, the female will lay the eggs, put them in her mouth, and then the male will fertilise them in her mouth. So slight difference in there between those. So I knew there was more chance of them being fertilised when I seen her holding them, because I don't think the males would have left her with unfertilised eggs in her mouth. And to tell you the truth, she wouldn't have kept unfertilised eggs in her mouth for a long period of time anyway. She would have discarded them and she would have moved on. So I was 99% sure that they had been fertilised, so I thought I'm gonna strip her early and go from there, which I'm pleased I did, because she's okay. The males, on the other hand, obviously they have been fighting. They have getting into quite a few tussles. There is some battle scars, which is a shame, but that's just one of those things that happens. Yeah, what else have I got to update you on in here? I don't think there's anything else I need to update you on in here. I think, update on the Stone Eye, what I was talking about last week as well. I think some of the males is trying to colour up. I think that's what the issue was. I think they're just getting to that stage where they're starting to mature and they're starting to colour up. So check that out. There was no problems with the water, temperature was fine, everybody's good to go. No issues, nobody needed to be moved, nobody needed to be swapped over. But yeah, so that was fine with that tank. There was nothing going on with that tank, so fingers crossed it is just a little bit of colour up situation happening. Alright, so that's it for another video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Enjoyed seeing the update on whose eggs they actually were. So happy that ended up happening. Thank you for watching and continue to support this channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so it lets you know every time I upload a video. Don't forget to like, thumbs up, all that jazz, and I will catch you on my next one. Bye!